I got it. Captain Joe.
And we are live. All right, guys, we are here. This is episode 7 of the Luxury and Mayhem podcast. I want to thank you guys for tuning in once again. I want to thank you. Take a moment out to thank you guys, the viewers. You guys have just really showed out for us. We love and appreciate all of the support. We never expected it to blow up this fast. We are on our way to 100 subscribers. We want to hit that first mark with you guys. So if you could please hit the notification, the subscribe button down in the bottom, and hit the notification bell over here and subscribe to the movement. We want to grow with you guys. We want you guys to tell us, how we're doing. We want to hear those comments and anything that we can do to improve and anything that we can do to show and bring you guys the content that you guys want. We want to do that. So without further ado, let me introduce you to a man that in the game, if you just saw the opening clip, then you understand what this man is capable of doing and what he's been doing to opponents for quite some time now. He is a legend in the game and is growing in the sport fast as hell. And this is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the formerly number one ranked IBJJF ultra heavyweight champion in the brown belt division, Mr. Marco Big Daddy Martinez. This man is doing big things in the game, and I wanted to just bring him to you guys so that you guys could really hear his perspective and how he got started, because his story is amazing. So let's start at the beginning, man. Like, where are you from originally?
Dago, San Diego.
What's up, Dago? Stand up. What part of Dago were you raised in?
North Park.
North Park. Okay. What street? Can you give me a street?
Hamilton Street.
Okay, because the Dago people are going to want to know that. All right. Where'd you go to high school?
All of the above.
He said all of the above.
Those, yeah.
So I would take it from that answer that you probably spent a little bit of your youth misspent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. Where how did you grow up? Where did you start out at?
North Park, you know what I mean? It was a cool area, you know what I mean? No gangs out there.
No.
Just
there is now, but
yeah. Back in those days, it was just kids from the neighborhood would get together, go doorbell ditch, do stuff like that, riding on the pegs, kicking over trash cans. I was one of those, you know what I mean? I was always getting into mischief, we'll say. Not big trouble, just mischief.
Okay. So what was the school life like?
School was cool, you know what I mean? It was, back in those days when we were growing up, we had a lot of, that was when there was a bunch of taggers and party crews and stuff like that.
Okay.
We had, people bombing on walls and stuff like that, throwing house parties. So.
Were you an artist?
No.
Okay. So just
hanging out with people.
Were you competitive in sports at that time?
I played baseball out there in Morley Field. You know what I mean? That was fun. Pretty much that, and then just whatever sports were, high school, football, wrestling. You know what I mean?
So you did
baseball.
So you did wrestle and play sports on the high school level?
Yeah, as long as I could stay there before I had to move on to the next school. But yeah,
got it. So I'm gonna have to ask, like, why so much moving?
I used to get in trouble, man. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things. Like, when I went to San Diego High and I was playing baseball, I went out there for tryouts. I hit a home run into the freeway. At San Diego High, the back of the baseball field, the 5 freeway runs through there, and I smacked one out in the freeway. And I remember not being able to make the team. I was real good at the tryouts and stuff like that, hitting the ball, but I couldn't feel that well. You know what I mean? So they were like, no, you know, we want the best players out here. And at that time, I used to think like, you know, if you're a school and you're only trying to get the best players, what about what happens with everybody else? Where are we going to spend our time? What are we going to do with our energy? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's considered. Schools sometimes focus on, oh, we want to be number one, but what is it doing for the rest of the community or the kids that want to be involved with sports? You know what I mean? When you're in Little League, you can pay some money and you get put on a team. You know, they'll find a place for you. But once you start going to high school, like you got to make that spot, and, you know, rightfully so. But it was one thing that even at a young age, I knew I was like, now what am I going to do with all this energy I got? You know,
that makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about it like that. But right, you're right. When you play flag football and things of that nature, it's just pay to play, right?
Yeah.
But when you get to the high school level, you start to learn that they're looking at talent, and there's a thing called cuts, and or a bench. And which means you're not going to play or you're not going to even make the team. And if you've never been subjected to that, that could affect your psyche a little bit. I could see that. I know it affected mine. In my high school career of football, I played a lot of flag football, and then I just thought I could transfer all of my skills over to high school ball, and it just was not the case. My first year on high school football was horrible. Anybody that went to high school with me, and I'll be the first to say it, I was not the guy getting the ball, and I was not the guy stepping on the field. You know what I mean? I had to really make those adjustments to get that play time. You know what I mean? So I can understand that. So okay, so you didn't make the baseball team. That seemed like that was something you did a lot.
Yeah.
So what was next? What did you try next?
It was that. I did a mixture of wrestling and football at the same time.
Okay.
You know, but at that point, you know, my grades were failing. You know, and
not a big on the academic side of stuff.
Nah, because we had an open campus. You know what I mean?
Oh, back then, yeah, you're right. When did you graduate? I don't. If you don't mind me asking, is that too much? Am I asking too much?
School of Hard Knocks.
Okay, School of Hard Knocks. All right, That's the '90s.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
Google that.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you weren't really doing well academically just because of open campus. So you had the ability to leave. Yeah. And just kind of go mess around.
We were, you know, it was open campus for lunch, so some of the kids, you know what I mean, would take off, and you know we weren't coming back. You know what I mean?
Correct.
We were just hanging out, and you know, started, you know, getting involved with drugs and stuff like that, and partying. You know what I mean? And I kind of went down that path.
Okay.
You know,
was that a long period of time for you? I mean, was that a really dark time, or?
Yeah, because you know I was. You know, that's the lifestyle that I went. I wasn't involved with any gangs and stuff like that, but just the party scene, you know. And my parents, you know, they tried to raise me right. They were, you know, good people. You know, they owned some restaurants and stuff like that. They always try to keep me out of trouble, but I was the black sheep of the family. You know,
brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have about 4 more siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Where do you fit in the hierarchy?
I'm the second to the youngest.
Second to the youngest. Okay, so almost a baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of older siblings.
Yeah.
And so typically what you see is when you have a lot of older siblings, you tend to follow in their footsteps. That wasn't the case?
No, because they were like a lot older than me, like almost 12, 13 years.
Okay.
Older. So, you know, when I was, you know, going to junior high, they were already in their late 20s.
All right. Makes sense. Okay, so you weren't able to relate to them that way. So you're kind of still going through it on your own, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody all moved out the house and everything. So just me and my younger sister.
Okay. All right. So you finally get out of high school. What happens then?
Still involved in the streets, man. You know what I mean? Like I was just doing all good at that time. The choices that I made, you know, dropping out of school, I started working. I started working at a young age. I think since the 9th grade, you know, I'd go to my junior high. I'd get out at 2:10, and by 2:40, I was already at work. You know,
doing what?
I was a prep cook for a restaurant in San Diego.
Okay, all right. So that's what you got. You got skills on the grill.
Oh, come on, huh?
Big Daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Stop, yeah.
Okay, all right. So you got skills on the grill. So you were able to still find work at that young age, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about that. Like, what's that been like? Just so, and a lot of people aren't built for academic side of things, right? Some people are just better with their hands. Some people are better with the trades. You know, you got people who are excellent carpenters and excellent iron workers and electricians who don't really do well in school, but they can understand things when they can get to put their hands on it, touch it, feel it, right? So, okay, so what made you go to? Was your family's background in restaurants, which led you to cooking?
Yeah, it was pretty much. My dad said, "Hey, you know what? If you're dropping out of school, you're gonna work around here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got no free ride. You know, you gotta support yourself."
Okay.
So, but I had been working before I had even dropped out of school. Just something I've always done as when I was younger. You know, I was always making my own money and stuff like that. You know, I like to work. You know, still do, and I worked hard, and I had my cash. You know what I mean? I was bringing home like $200 paychecks when I was like 14. You know what I mean?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then I remember getting my first paycheck. My mom was like,
yeah.
I was like, yo, I
been
thought this
there.
was mine. You know what I mean? She says, no, you got to kick in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I learned how to
sleep
do
here.
that. Yeah. So I enjoyed doing that and moved up and did other things, other types of jobs and stuff. Got involved with construction and even trying to got involved with one of those pyramid schemes, those
little multi-level marketing.
Yeah, they tried to talk me into doing that when I was a kid. I was like 15.
Which one? I gotta know this. Which one were you trying to peddle?
Somebody talked me into getting into Excel telecommunications.
Okay, I have to time out, guys, because I did Excel communications. I was directly under one of the major guys who started the younger generation, the X-Gen generation, and he was actually my business mentor. He's the one who taught me everything I know. So you might know him if you were moving around in San Diego with Excel back in those days. His name is Mady Amini.
Okay.
Mady now is a multi-millionaire and owns American Mortgage Group, AMG for short, because he loves Mercedes. And his wife, Nikki Amini, owns American Dream Homes, and they're sitting on double digits in the millions, easy.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Excel Communications was not just multi-level marketing. That was a different aspect of marketing communication product at a time where it was needed.
Yeah.
They imploded from the inside, but the actual structure of the company was copied over multiple times through different similar companies.
Yeah.
So you did Excel. So how did you do with that? You were a good conversationalist, so I imagine you did pretty well with that.
Well, I was young and I tried it out for a minute, but remember, I was 15 years old.
Oh, this was when you were 15.
I was 15.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, it just wasn't the right time. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Then I started seeing it over and over, like different brands and different companies come out, but it always led up to the same person.
Got it.
Coming out with different products, and I know some of those products, they work. It's just about if you're able to go talk to people, you can handle rejection. Because the way I looked at it was, if you can sell that product, everybody you look at, that's the dollar sign right there. If you can convince them to get involved with it, and it works for some people. It's just, you got to know what you're doing. And those people that are good at it and persistent with it, I've seen them come up. I've seen them quit their day jobs on the spot and
definitely
just become millionaires over it. You know what I mean? But it's not for everybody,
It's true. You got to be outgoing. You got to not be afraid of rejection.
Yeah, good salesman for sure.
You got to know how to run through the numbers.
No.
Okay, so you dibbled and dabbled and kind of just stayed in between the streets and obviously when you have a trade or a skill like being able to cook, you're always going to be able to support yourself, like you said. So no matter how much trouble you get into, you can always bounce back, right? Because there's always going to be a need for somebody that can require a decent cook. So how much time would you say you spent, just fooling off?
It's about 10 years.
Okay, that's not bad. Starting at 14, though, 10 years, 24. Okay, so better question is, when do you think that you started, saying this may not be what I need to be doing?
I think when I had my first kid.
Okay. All right. So and talk to me about that experience. What's boy, girl, firstborn? Okay. And what was that like for you? How old were you then?
About 27.
Okay. So you still managed to, even being out there playing around so long, you still managed to hold off becoming like an adolescent father, a young adolescent father. Okay. So what was that like? What did that do for you? What was that experience like?
Well, that's when I hung up the jersey. You know what I mean? I said, "Yo, I'm done." You know what I mean? Like, this is my son, and I got to provide for him. And went to work like just from AM to PM, you know what I mean, doing hard work.
Okay.
And I just did that for years, like 16 years, 17 years, just grinding out there. And
so you didn't really have a background in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu prior to, like, as a child?
No.
Okay. So talk to me about what forced you into that world?
One of my kids ended up getting into it. Started training. At first, they were doing MMA.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'd go and watch them, and I did. They called me out and see if I would go and do it with them, and not do it with them.
Your son called you out?
Somebody called me out. Like, I'd go and watch them, and then they said, "Hey, there's some dude right here," there, and they don't got nobody to scrap with them. Okay. Are you down? They were trying to test me. You know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. What I need. They said, go to Walmart, go get a mouthpiece. And then I showed up, and then I remember showing up, and they're like, it's his big old brother. You know what I mean? Like, you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. And I showed up, and this guy, when I seen him, he was standing taller than the door. You know what I mean?
That's a good, like, 6'5", 6'6".
Oh, God, I'll show you some
6'7".
pictures, man. We'll post some pictures so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And I remember I went over there and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, hey, are you going to fight? And then he goes, nah, nobody showed up for me. I go, yeah, they did. And he goes, where? And he's like looking over me because he just towered over me. And then I told him, right here. And then he just looked at me and he goes, yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? And they called him Ebola. This dude's
a virus, huh?
It was monster. And I remember,
and this is mixed martial arts?
Yeah, it was MMA. But, they put some pads on us, you know what I mean? Some shin guards, some gloves, and we had this stupid vest. I didn't like that thing, you know what I mean? Just like a little body protector.
Okay.
Because it just got in the way, it was heavy back then too. And I remember I got up in there and I'm just looking at this dude. I'm like, let's go. And this dude threw a kick, like an axe kick, and just came at me. And I just remember I screamed. I just screamed and tried to get away from him. When he came, he gave me a good combo. And I was like, all right, let's go. And I tore him up.
Uh-oh.
I tore him up. After that, after I felt it, then it was on. And, I ended up getting him with like a straight ankle, you know what I mean? I didn't even know what I was doing, but with a dude like that, I took him to the ground. I was exchanging with him for a minute, but then when I took him to the ground, I just caught his ankle and just whacked him. And he tapped, and then everybody was just looking at him like, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't trying to tap, but he didn't have no choice. And then after that, they're like, hey, will you come back next week? And then they started putting me against their black belts, you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like they had at that academy, they start throwing me to each one, like little by little, one by one. I show up every week.
Just a big shark in the pond, huh?
Like, yeah, and then they're like, he asked me afterwards, like, hey, what do you train at? I go, I never done this in my life. And then they were like, oh, this dude's good, you know what I mean? Maybe we should train him. But I tried it for a little bit, but I was getting banged up, like the Muay Thai part of it. Mm-hmm. And since I was working construction at that time, I couldn't really
double jeoprdy on the body.
And I can't even walk and stuff like that. And I had to choose. It's either, work, like providing or doing this hobby, you know what I mean? Or because the ego too, showing up. And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm getting banged up right here. You start, defending kicks and, you know what I mean? They're cracking the shins or I was throwing kicks and they were blocking them.
Yeah, if you're not conditioned for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So So were you a fighter growing up? I mean, did you do a lot of fighting when you were younger? I mean, where did that natural talent, was that always there? Was that from fighting older brothers or?
Nah, just getting into it with people.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
You became a bully growing up?
I wasn't a.
Were you a bully beater?
Younger, like elementary, yeah, I was probably bullied, you know what I mean? But I got bullied too, you know?
Okay.
But I think it was just sticking up for my friends mostly, you know what I mean? And then when I started getting older, like if somebody was coming after the older cats, you know what I mean? I'd be the first one to respond, so.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you became like the baby enforcer. Okay. You're just fearless, regardless. I think that's the trait that I see.
It was more of a respect thing. Like, you didn't do that to OGs, you know what I mean?
Got it. Okay. So they throw you in the ring, and now you're getting exposed to MMA just on a pure level, just based on what you're able to do from what you had on the streets. And now someone is taking you under their wing to start to train you, or you just kind of...
So after that, you know, the kids kept training, and then they ended up doing boxing, and then they started getting into jiu-jitsu. And I didn't pay attention to none of it until one day I was trying to wrestle one of them. I don't know what happened. We were messing around, and he put me in this Kimura and this lock, and I was like, yo, what the hell is that? And he's like, jiu-jitsu. And I was like, fuck that. Because I had my stepkids whoop my ass with this shit, you know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I can't have that. Like, I got to go see this. And, you know, they were hitting tournaments and competing, and my two younger kids were doing it. And, you know, I'd go watch them and stuff like that. But when I went to the tournaments, I started watching the guys, and then I said, hey, where's like my guys at? Where the big dudes at? And they're like, they're over there. And I'd go watch them, and I was watching these guys compete. And I told them, I said, these fools are fucking soft. You know what I mean? Like, I'll fucking smash.
You could just see it.
I could see it. I go, these dudes they're fucking soft. And they're like, you can't do that shit. I said, bro, watch. I'm join your little gym and watch. Throw me in as soon as the next competition is, and watch. Just on the strength what I'm gonna do to them. So that's what happens. And I'm not bullshitting. I think about, I don't know if it was 3 weeks or within 2 months of me training, there was a comp. There was an in-house tournament. And I signed up for it. And it was something special because my son had been training for a while, but he's never competed before. And I said, okay, you're gonna go scrap, you're gonna go fight. And he was scared. And I told him, you know, I said, I'm scared too, but I said, what separates us from the rest is that we're gonna do it. And we're gonna do it together. I go, no matter what happens, we're gonna experience this. What's the point of you learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if you don't put it into practice? You really have to test it at its finest, not just sparring with somebody in the academy or training with somebody, but go after somebody who's really going to take your head off and let's see how you're going to react. That's
exactly
the best
it's a true
thing
test.
that's going to happen to what will happen if you have to use this for self-defense in the street. So I said, we're both going. You know, I was so nervous. They used to have these little things that they put on people for like, I don't know. It's like, it shocks them. Like when they're hurt, like some medical thing. There's like two little tabs.
Yeah.
That they put, sorry.
The EKG.
Bueno.
Yeah, You got it. Okay. You got it. Just
arm drag on right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Got it.
We good?
Swing it back just a little bit. Just swing the top over. There you go. All right. And then tilt that part out. There you go. Cool.
So I had got a hold of one of those machines, and I would put it on me to calm me down because I was bouncing off the walls because I knew like a weekend I just couldn't contain it. Like I was just ready to go, you know, just all over the place. So I remember I showed up to that tournament and I had those things on my neck. I hadn't even put them on my neck, on the veins. Just you know what I mean? I was ready. And I had signed up for this tournament. So, you know, you think at this age,
what did you think that was going to do, though? What did you think that putting the using the electronic stimulation was going to do?
No. It's because that's what kept me calm. Because
you would have to focus on that
anxiety,
versus.
But like,
it's
not anxiety.
It took your attention off of the moment.
Like right now, I'm feeling it right now. Like I just wanted to smash. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Just like you're going to go in there and handle something, and you don't know what
to
it is.
expect.
Like we're going at it. You know what I mean? Like I'm a grown man. I'm 330 pounds, 320. You know what I mean? And we're not playing. And this is what we do in jiu-jitsu. You know, dude's going to try to snap your arm, snap your leg. He's going to try to smash you on the ground, especially in front of everybody. So, you know, we're in the zone now. So that me putting those things on me, it would send me shocks, and that would calm me down to just calm my nerves from just, you know, bouncing off the walls.
Okay.
And it happens. A lot of people that compete know this feeling, and we could probably get into that later. But yeah, there's a lot of things that happen. You know, it's adrenaline. That's what it is. It's adrenaline that's going through your body, and you know, and it happens every time we get prepared to go to a competition. You're dealing with a lot. You're dealing with what happens if I go out there and I get embarrassed? What happens if I let my team down? Everybody's watching. We're fighting in stadiums. You know what I mean? Everybody's looking. It's your reputation. It's a lot of things you got to deal with, and you have a lot of adrenaline. And then they have these adrenaline dumps where you could be out there pumped up to do what you're going to do, and as soon as you step on the mat, it's like,
Poof, it caves. Yeah.
And it goes down, and the next thing you know, you're in a slow motion. You're like, no.
Yeah, no, I've been there.
You know, it's real, and it's hard to deal with that. And after so many years of, you know, competing, you know, it's hit or miss with that thing, but it's tough. So on top of that, at my age when I started competing, so I must have started when I was 30. I've been doing this for 8 years.
So that first in-house
I've been doing
competition.
this for 8 years. I'm 44 right now, so I was like 37, I think, when I started.
In that first competition, you were 37.
So you got to think, you know, I'm already an older cat, and they have different brackets in jiu-jitsu. So, you know, you have your adults bracket that's 18 to 29, and then you have a master's bracket that's probably 30 to 34, and then master's 2 that's 35, and it works like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It goes up in levels, and an adult can move up to a higher age bracket, you know, because they don't think it'd be fair. But if you're older, you can drop down to the adults bracket if you want to. So when I signed up for this comp, they said, yeah, we got 2 people for you, but they ended up dropping out for some reason. So they told me, hey, man, your opponent's dropped out. So are you willing to do the adults? I said, I don't care who you bring me, men, women, or children. Somebody's going to get it. Like, I've been training for this. Like, we got to go. You know, I'm bouncing off the walls. And they threw me against the adults. And turned out that one of the guys was the school prodigy where I went, you know, and just some corn-fed, you know, built, you know, youngster, man. He was out there and, you know, did my thing and came up on top and took the gold. Me and my son took the gold that day.
What? So your first competition, both you and your son took gold.
Took gold.
That is,
and we both had a fight. Like me dropping to a higher bracket, an adult bracket. You know what I mean? Which is even harder, especially for somebody my age. And then my son had to jump up a different belt class, you know what I mean? A higher ranking person.
Wow.
He had to go against them, and we.
So it was a true test on the mats that day.
And then it was, but it was something that we cherished that we were able to do that.
Yeah.
And you know that lit the fire right there. It's like, oh, all right, got one.
I'm built for
What's
this.
next?
So okay, so now the fire is lit. Now you're training. You start immediately training full time. Where do you?
Yeah.
How do you choose where to go?
Well, the thing is, it's where my kids are training at.
Which was?
It was in National City.
Okay, and which gym was that at?
It was National City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, shout out National City Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Are they still around?
No, they're not around anymore.
Okay, so that is gone. So so you guys initially start training there, and then you know what is the journey like from there? Are you now entering competitions on a regular basis?
Yeah. So once that was done, happened like. The training for me was, it came first. I would go to work. I was working construction. I was doing asphalt and concrete.
Okay. 8
to 10 hours a day. And right after
that's
that.
tough stuff.
You know,
in
go
the
home,
sun.
take a shower, and then I'm straight grinding. I'm on the mat.
Wow.
And then I'm on the mat putting in work. And the school that I went to was highly respected because my professor, Rafael Davis, who's till this day he's still my professor, the way he drilled us was different. You know, he used to burn us out like before we would start training, like wall sits, just calisthenics, just he would make us use all our strength, so we would lose our strength. So when we went in to train, we couldn't rely on strength, you know, especially me being, you know, an ultra heavy cat, you know, being probably the heaviest.
Normally, you can rely on that normally to put your
I
weight
wasn't
on.
smashing nobody. It didn't matter how big I was. When I first walked up into that academy, I was like, yeah, they're not going to be able to do nothing to me. And I must have tapped like 30 times every time I rolled.
Bottom of the totem pole.
I got destroyed big time. I got destroyed.
I think people think that you know that there's not enough public knowledge of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I don't think people understand how big of a chess game that is. And the game of chess would be entirely different if one of your limbs was going to be snapped. Okay, so you would be thinking about all of your moves very intensely, but that person is constantly trying to attack you, and you have to defend and still be able to attack them back at the same time, and that is very unique in the world of contact sports. It's a very unique sport. I think it's very high level. It's a lot of strategy involved.
It's human chess.
Yeah, it's human chess, literally with limbs, with limbs and ligaments.
The art of folding clothes with people in it.
Yeah, wow. Folding clothes with people in it. Yeah, I've never thought about it that way. That's not easy to do. My wife and I have discrepancies on how we fold clothes now. So that's crazy. Okay, so you're competing. Is your son still competing?
Yeah, he was competing, and I would force him to compete.
Okay.
So.
Is he still in the sport now?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Well, they're young. They go the other way, but that's cool. You guys still had that moment to share initially, and it lit that fire under you.
I mean, he kept competing for a while, and he was good. I think he was better than I was. He was so smart. I used to take him to, open mats with me, take him to cross train with different academies, and they used to say that my son, the black belts, would say, hey, he's on a different level.
He's got it.
We used to call him the armbar king because he could hit it from anywhere, and I used to make him go, and he's like, Dad, I don't want to go. And I'm like, you're going to fight for the team. And I didn't understand this till later, it was a lot of anxiety for him to show up in front of a stadium full of people, everybody looking at him. And one day he told me, he says, Dad, I don't want to do that. And I knew how good he was, and it's not that I was jealous. I wish I had that knowledge that he had for jiu-jitsu and could do what he
just pick it up naturally.
And I didn't understand it because, at that time I was thinking, you know what, you got to know how to defend yourself pretty good. For Jiu-Jitsu World League, when they had the World Championships, he ended up winning the gold, you know what I mean? And he was real good. But I didn't want to be one of those fathers that forced their kid to play sports. Like, there's some people that, hey, you gotta play football, you gotta play baseball. They're yelling at him and doing that. And he told me he didn't want to, and it was tough, but I love my son. And I said, you know what, I'm not gonna be one of those dads, and I'm gonna support you in whatever it is that you want to do. And I backed off and gave him that space,
Okay.
And I knew he was good, but, jiu-jitsu is like forever, you know what I mean? So if he ever decides to go back to it, and it's his choice, then cool, And if not, well, at least, I got some highlight videos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, you've accomplished some things, and those are all in his name, in a way. You know what I mean? That was something you did with him. He was the one that initially got you in there. You know what I mean? So, all right, now we're competing, and what's it like going through the belt levels? Obviously, white belt, you've got blue belt, and you're a brown belt now, about to hit your black belt. What is that like, competing through all these different levels? I mean, as an ultra heavyweight, I know you run up against some guys in your class who are just, specimens.
Yeah.
Like, what is that like? How many matches have you competed in?
It's about roughly like 343 matches in competition.
Now, out of the 300, there's a known fact, and I got to give this man his flowers where they're due. Out of the 343 matches, there's a very unique aspect that you have in those, out of those 343. Can you tell the viewers what that is?
I've never been submitted in competition, ever.
So out of 343 competition matches, you've never been submitted in a sport where submissions are like breakfast.
Key.
Very key. That means your defense game is ultra strong, is at a high level, a high IQ. Why do you think that is?
I know I'm tough. You know what I mean? Like I don't quit. I've had my ribs broken. You know what I mean? Fractured stuff, fingers, broken toes, pulled groins. I think it might be a little bit of pride of not tapping. You know, just fighting through it. For me, it was always fighting for my team. I fight for my coaches, you know, my professors, my training partners, my friends. You know, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of, I'm representing this academy, and you're going to have to kill me on this mat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tap. Like, this is what you come get it, you know? And that mixed with, you know, that's what it was at first. And then it got to a point sorry about that.
Oh, good.
Then it got to the point where it was like a lot of the defense that I learned, a lot of the techniques that I learned from my professors, you know. I have a different style. I was taught some things that people hadn't seen before, you know. It was rare, you know, if anybody ever saw some of these techniques. And I got stuck with them, and I used them. And I try to, you know, use them in competition when it mattered, and seeing how that would pan out. And I know how to defend very well. And I believe that I always train like that. When I go train with somebody, you know, when I first started, you know, like I said, the same build, you know what I mean? Like going in there at 320. So when you're going against other people, I used to just try to just smash on them, just use my weight. I remember one day my professor said, "Hey, you know what? I don't want you getting on your knees anymore. You're gonna sit down." So that changes the aspect from me being on my knees and being able to rush you. It's like, no, now you gotta sit. Now they have the advantage. So I started playing this game where I would let people attack me and put me in their best position,
and then try to fight your way out of it.
Try to learn how to escape from there. Use the techniques that I was taught to escape. So when I was able to do that, it would open up my game, because I knew I could attack somebody, and if I did end up on my back or in a compromised position, I knew I could get out of it. So I had more confidence, even in tournaments, to do crazy moves that people wouldn't.
I don't care which way I'm going to end up, because I'm confident I can get out.
If I know how to defend, then I'm good. You know, instead of just being able to attack and then get put in a bad position and then panic and then tap because I don't know where I'm going, or not being able to get out. It was different.
Okay, so you studied from a defensive angle just to begin with, which is good. I mean, a lot of people are always trying to go in and get the immediate attack, right? And this is chess.
Yeah. When I first started, my professor taught me my style, like, is what my professor taught me, and he was very successful. He was a two-time world champion, IBJJF world champion, and he's known in the community. He's no joke. He's very intelligent, and he's very, very strong. And his style, he taught me, you know, one of his signature moves was the paper cutter, and he taught it to me, you know. When did a private with them, and he's like, "Look, this is what's for you," and he taught me how to do it correctly. And those first tournaments that I did when I was a white belt, because after I won that first one, I did more. So I did the next 8 tournaments and submitted everybody by the same move, which was the paper cutter. And
nobody was able to defend it?
No, they all died. I mean, I won 8 straight golds, you know, as a white belt before, you know, I took a first loss on points, which was in in the world championship.
Wow. So 8 golds as a white belt.
Yeah, just the first 8 tournaments until I hit the worlds.
Well, that's worlds. So, I mean, obviously there's, that's the best of the best there. But that's the championship at worlds?
Yeah, I ended up taking second. I lost to the champion finals.
What was that like?
It was...
After winning 8 golds.
It sucked because I wanted to beat this dude. You know what I mean?
Had you seen him before in any other competitions? Or was he not familiar with him?
I think I might have... No, I don't think I had competed against him before.
Okay.
But I had seen him, you know what I mean? And I won a battle with that guy like 13 times after that. Like I mean, that was like my nemesis and everybody knew it. Also his style, because he was tall, he was 6'6" or something, tall guy
and 300 pounds?
No, he wasn't 300 pounds. Ugh. He was slim, but long legs. And this was something that I'd had when I'd have trouble with him passing his guard, Okay. And every time it happened, go back to the academy. Okay, we got to work on the guard, pass the guard. And I think I went at it with that guy like 13 times and Pan Americans in the worlds, and we took each other both out back and forth. We would always go to the top, different sides of the brackets, and we'd meet up, and then boom, boom, it would always be us in the finals.
And out of the 13 times, what's the count right now?
I think we might have. I can't remember, but I think the last 3 or 4 I got them.
Okay.
Like we were going back and forth, but towards the end, I was getting
the best of them.
Getting the better of them. Yeah, especially in the big tournaments for sure.
Okay, so that's your first. So your first loss is still taking second place. Okay, and at this point, you've been doing it for like maybe what, a year or 2 years at this point?
No, just 1 year.
Just 1 year. This is your first year in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like, this is where I'm home. I'm home now. I know I'm built for this. When do you make the decision that I'm going for it all? I'm trying to take everything.
I think when I got promoted to blue belt, it was the same thing. I got promoted and didn't think I was there. I didn't think I had the technique that a blue belt should have. Because I'm a big guy, and there's certain things that I didn't want to do. Like they were teaching how to do arm bars, and I'm like, I got a big stomach. Like this is hard for me. I can't breathe. I feel off balance. So I wouldn't retain that technique. I wouldn't do it. I'd never try to hit an arm bar on somebody because I knew I was going to get thrown over. So I stuck specifically to getting north south to paper cut people, and my professor told me. So what happened was right before I get my blue belt, here we go. Right before I get my blue belt, right? There's a championship. It's a SJJIF World Championship, right? Okay. So you got IBJJF and SJJIF here, right?
And what's the difference, just for the people assuming they don't know?
IBJJF is the cream of the crop. It's the top. You know what I mean? And SJJIF is like underneath it. But the thing about SJJIF is they're the ones that are leading the march to get jiu-jitsu into the Olympics.
Got it.
So they got pulled. That's their mission. IBJJF is governing like all the championships. What Brazilian jiu-jitsu is. You know what I mean? That's down from the Gracie
standings.
family.
That's the official.
That's down from the
Okay.
And they're there. And the other one's like underneath it. People will see it. Anybody that knows about jiu-jitsu, they'll be like, okay, that's where they're at second.
Okay, so now we get into
we get in there, and to me, I don't care. I don't care if it's a tournament, a local tournament. I don't care if it's the world title. They're all world championships. To me, it doesn't matter. This is a scrap that I want to win. I look at them all the same.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. So I'm going there, and I really want to be a world champion. You know what I mean? And at this point, since I'm a blue belt, I didn't know the difference between IBJJF and SJJIF. I just knew it was the world title, So I sign up, and I'm about to go, and 2 weeks before, everybody's saying that I had an opportunity to win that world championship at a white belt. And they're like, you know what? He's got a good chance at winning it. He's been doing good. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. 2 weeks right before my professor promotes me to blue belt. And right when he did it, I just put my head down and everybody just looked. I remember the other coaches looking at him like, what are you doing? And I remember my professor saying, I'm the professor in here, and what I say goes. And if I said he's a blue belt, he's a blue belt. And if I say he's gonna win that tournament. And
so he didn't give you the option. He said, "Oh, you think
no.
He said you're on a pedestal. You think you're on a pedestal? I'm going to move you to the next level."
Yeah, you're on the next level, and
whether you want to be or not.
Anybody else said or anything, and I knew I wasn't. I was like, I'm not a blue belt. I don't even know how to do a triangle or this and that. But he knew what he saw in me. He knew what it was, and you know what? I went in there at a blue belt and ended up taking the world title at a blue belt.
With
SJJIF.
And so you had no training as a blue belt. Technically, you had just been promoted and going into the competition. What was the time difference between when you got your promotion and when you went into the competition?
2 weeks,
14 days.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, he just and I was looking at him like, and I was upset. And I was like,
thought he set you up for failure.
I didn't think. I
just didn't see what he saw.
I just said, you know what? Why would you do that to me? Like, I want to be a world champion. Like,
and this is my
chance.
chance.
Why didn't you give me an opportunity as a white belt to do that? Now you just threw me in here with blue belts. And this is a thing. They're not just throwing you in there with blue belts. There can be blue belts that are already going to get their purple belt.
Yeah, that are trying to do the same thing you were doing. The same thing you were trying to do.
They're trying to get that title so they can already move into the, to the next level. And I'm like, and he says, you're going to go in there and you're going to handle this. And I was like, that's the only thing that was in my head. And we brought it home.
So, man.
And I beat that dude. Shout out to Nolan Archer. My nemesis, good dude. Yeah.
Oh, so now and he had been a blue belt for a minute.
Yeah.
So here you come again.
Yeah.
Coming into his bracket, he's like, I just got rid of this guy, and then you come into the bracket and take worlds from him. Man, okay, that's the true nemesis. So he probably has your picture on his wall somewhere. He's like,
he's cool people.
It's like, okay, so do you just run through the entire blue belt division too from that point on?
I was putting in a lot of work, man. I was competing every other weekend. You know, sometimes I had an opportunity once to do like 3 fights in one week. You know what I mean? I would go from. They had one that was here in San Diego and another one that was in the same day. And I do one tournament in the morning, hit the other one, and just do my thing. I just love competing. I just love that.
Love being on the mat.
Yeah, and people are like, how many competitions do you do? And I'm like, I do probably like 25 a year, 20 a year. That's like every other weekend. I'm like, yeah. And what I was told was, nothing gets you ready for a competition than a competition, you know? And another thing is a competition's worth 3 months of training on the mat.
One competition. So that experience that you get in there, because it's different. You know, you can roll with the people that you're in your academy with. And you know their tendencies, yeah.
But when somebody's trying to take your head off or rip your arm off, you
got to adjust.
Yeah. You start knowing this is real. You know, they're not playing, and you can't make mistakes. You're going to get caught.
They're going to take it.
And they're going to take it. So that's why I was so aggressive with my training, and my professors were no joke with that. You know, I remember even my coaches, I would, when I was learning, I'd reach out and I'd try to grab them, and they just crowbar me, bow. And I'm like, yo, dude. What's the matter with you? You know what I mean? Like, I got to go to work tomorrow. He's like, don't reach out like that. And I'm like, dude, you know, like arms hurting. And then the next day go back and we're training, and I try to like lazily just grab him, and he whacked me again, man. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You know, I got to provide for my kids. What are you doing, man? He says, don't touch me. You know what I mean? Don't reach out like that no more. And then time passed, and I remember telling this story one day, and then the coach was overhearing me, and he says, did you ever reach out again? I said, nope. He goes, you learned. So the way we learned there was by touching the stove. You know, you weren't babied there. You made a mistake. You paid for it. So you can understand what pain you can inflict on somebody, because you got to keep in the back of the mind that this is also for self-defense. Don't ever forget that these moves that you're doing is to be able to get you home if something happens.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
It's not just for
And
competition.
especially when we're going into comp, you know what I mean? If you're not aware that these things could happen, they will, and it's quick. And it's quick because comp, I can't give somebody an opportunity to warn them. You know what I mean? Some
Correct.
people do. They're like, okay, I'm not going to Yankee it, bro. I'm running with it. Because I can't imagine, I'm 30-something, bro. I ain't going to have some dude my size giving me chances. You can't give me a chance because if I escape, I'm going to smash on you.
Got it. No mercy, right?
No.
I mean,
If you want to be the best, like, you got to go for it. You know, some people have told me, hey, you take this too serious. You know, like other people I competed against, like, hey, you take this too serious. I'm like, bro, you know this is a competition. You signed the waiver. Like, what were you thinking? And if you're not on that level, like, you're going to school now. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to find out. And I never wanted to be like that. Like, I wanted to make a mark, and I had thought about it. I was like, man, you know, I want to make these people fear me. But I never thought like that it was going to happen. But then it came to a point where I said, I'm going to make people fear me, you know, and it ended up happening. There's people that will drop out of the bracket. They'll try to cut weight, or they just won't even show up, because throughout my time and with the highlight videos and the techniques that I learned, I've sent a lot of people back on stretchers, you know, and I don't mean to be an asshole. And I really say that to the people, like, I'm sorry about that. If I hurt you out there, I feel bad about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard. I'm stuck in a position where, should I get into the
yes, please,
Captain Joe?
Yes,
technique?
please. Wait, that's how we opened up the video. That's what people. The first thing they saw was you eliminating somebody's ankle ligaments.
Okay, so the thing is, one of my professors, Joe Ramirez, aka Captain Joe, we call him Captain Joe, and we ended up calling that technique the Captain Joe. So it's a straight ankle lock, and he used to do this move, you know, and what happens is, you know, when you're learning jiu-jitsu, you know, you learn the primary positions and stuff, you know, mount, you know, side control guard, and taking somebody's back, putting in the seatbelt. So everybody's trained to put their hooks in, you know, and he was messing around with it one day and found something. He just found, like, this technique that worked and made people submit. So he started working on it, developing it, and then he taught us. And out of everybody, I'm the one who really paid attention to that. Mm-hmm. And he taught me the details to it, taught me everything else I could do about it. We ended up creating a system through it, and I ran with it. And what I wanted to do was, when we were first doing this, there was people saying that it doesn't work. And we were looked down upon and said that move's trash. It doesn't work. And we knew it worked. So how do you teach somebody that a technique works? Well, you got to
show it to them. Yep. You got to put it on them.
You know, when we're training, we won't hit it 100%. You know what I mean? Because
obviously it's your training partners, yeah.
But when we go to comp, there's only one way to let it be known. And like my professor Hoppa says, you know, like, there's no safe place in jiu-jitsu. If there was a safe place that you could go to, if
you
would
go there immediately.
You go there every time, you will go there. And then jiu-jitsu would be flawed.
Correct.
If you can go there and
there's
they
a
can't
safe
get you
space.
and be flawed. Yeah. So, and a lot of people think, okay, if I take somebody's back and I have a rear naked choke on them,
I'm going to be good.
This is game over. And we're showing them that it's not. So my goal was to go out there and show the world what this technique is. Show them, hey, if you haven't seen this or you don't know about it, or just to give that information for people, because what will happen is now people have to learn how to defend that.
Correct.
So you have to evolve from what you were taught in the beginning. That's what jiu-jitsu is about, evolving.
But, and we've talked about this, and I want to bring it up so that people are aware. A lot of the jiu-jitsu camps tend to stay very guarded and to keep their techniques very guarded, because they don't want people being able to defend those techniques. And one of the things that I noticed with you is that you travel, You reach out to a lot of different academies. You don't just stay at your own. You're in different states, and you're preaching and teaching these things to people. And this is like your bread and butter technique. So why would you eliminate your own ability to win by teaching somebody, by giving somebody the details on how to potentially defend it?
Well, one thing is the way the knowledge was passed down to me, it should be passed down to others because it's part of it, you know. Of course, you know, we teach that, we do seminars, we do privates with this technique, and it's something special because a lot of people don't know it. If you go back and look at the highlight videos, people have never seen this technique. You know, I've heard, I've done it to some people, older people that been around for a long time, and sometimes they'll say, hey, I've seen that before in Brazil long time ago, but nobody's actually like incorporated it in their teachings.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not known, it's not really heard of. So the thing is, like they say, games to be sold, not told. You know what I mean? So yeah, we can charge for that because it's something that we're teaching people. It's just like doing a private. If you want to learn the details on this, why are you learning that? Because you're learning to finish this technique, how to submit somebody, how to escape this. You're trying to get better at your game. What is your agenda? Is it trading in the academy? You're trying to escape your partner? Or are you a competitor? You're trying to be a world champion? Are you doing MMA? You know what I mean? Like this is, you know, I train UFC fighters and they know this technique. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's at, you know. But the thing is, since not too many people know about it, it's still quiet. But I try to, you know, I started showing people because when I put those videos up, some people tell me, why do you show technique?
Yeah.
Why do you show people what you do? And the reason behind it is because if I've been doing this for a long time now. So the thing is, if I continue doing the same move over and over, I can't grow because people don't know how to defend it. If I show other people how to do it and they learn how to defend the technique, then that means that's going to force me that I can't go to that every time. I'm going to have to grow as well.
So you're basically giving away the knowledge to make yourself better.
For a small price.
For a small price, which might be your ankle, or some monetary. I prefer just pay the man. Just pay the man. Don't learn the other way. That's going to take a few weeks out of your training.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
That's the part that sucks because, you know, I've had some people tell me, dude, you're an asshole. Like, you ripped the shit. You know what I mean? And I was like, look, bro, like, you got to understand. Like, it's like, see, this is the difference. When you do an R bar on somebody and they're barely starting out, they're going to learn, hey, that hurts, right? So you start cranking on the arm, and when you got it positioned right, you just...
a little bit of pressure.
There's a little bit of pressure, and it's going to work, you know? But also at the same time, when you're in competition, if you're telegraphing what you're doing, you got to go 100, because if you hesitate with anything you do, there's a chance that dude's going to get out, and that's a loss. And remember. And
you could have just got your points.
We're not doing these competitions for free. We're paying for them. We have sponsors that are helping us pay for these competitions, and they're not cheap. You know, sometimes you come in $200 out of pocket. Plus, we got to travel. We got to fly out. We got to get a hotel. We got to get food. We got to miss work. You know, somebody's paying for this. So I'm not coming out here to, you know, be messing around. I'm coming over here to bring home something. I want some hardware. My sponsors want some hardware. You know what I mean? And how do you prove the technique without some hardware as well?
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like, how can you prove that works, you know? And, yeah, pretty much. You know, so with that technique, you can't, when I'm in comp and they do what they do and I do what I do, you know what? I'm ripping it. And I rip it, and they're going to learn. They're never going to put their feet in again, you know? And I've had people do that. And it's funny because I put the videos out there so people know, because I've gone to competitions and people see my stuff and they'll start screaming to coaches, watch the drop cell Nagi, watch the gator roll, watch this, watch your ankles. And they're telling them, and you can hear it on the videos on my highlights, the coaches are telling them, don't put your hooks in, don't put your hooks in.
They do.
These dudes put their hooks in, and they're like, oh,
it's
I
natural.
I can get out, yeah. And they think they can, and next thing you know, there comes a stretcher. And I can't just do it half-assed. I have to go on it, you know? And some people do escape. There's a few that have gotten out, but you know, if you don't, my bad. And I really do apologize, sir. I feel bad, and it sucks, but you guys are a part of history. Trust me, because if this move catches on, thank you guys. You know what I mean? Because I'm saying, you know what? It's a hard way to learn, and it's the same thing, you know, like dudes, when they're ripping these heel hooks and stuff like that, you're going to respect that. How else are we going to get people to respect this technique unless it gets out there, unless they felt it, you know what I mean? At least so we can incorporate it in jiu-jitsu.
Like I said, and the fastest way to learn, like you said, is by touching the stove, right?
Yeah.
You touch the stove, you're not touching it again. That's it hurts, and we're gonna make sure that nobody else experiences that if we can. Don't put your hooks in, especially against a guy who has perfected the technique.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, but I mean that's your way of making your mark in the game, right? And so now you've been ripping this since blue belt. Now you're a brown belt, and you're about to go black. What is that making you feel like? I mean, you're like literally weeks away, right?
It's what they say, you know, and like, you know, I have no say so. That's when my professor feels that I'm ready, but you know, they think that I'm there, you know, and you know, I feel a certain way about it. Like I always think that I'm not worthy because I wish I did know more techniques, you know, to get to that level. But I've also seen that how it works. So when we grow into it, and I look at it differently, like I've spent a lot of time competing and going to what I know all this time, you know, and especially to prove a point as well, you know. One of the main reasons why I've never been submitted in 300 or something matches is because of that captain show. One thing that'll happen is if I have a technique like that, people are already afraid to put their hooks in.
Correct.
Imagine if you're doing jiu-jitsu and you're trying to submit somebody
with no hooks,
and you can't take their back because there's a problem there, you know, they're more likely to stay in front of you, which is going to give me the advantage.
Correct.
You know, so, you know, I want to go back and just study the fundamentals, you know what I mean, and go back and learn everything that I missed because I just competed my whole career. You know, it was all about the competition. You know, it was all about and perfecting one move. And like they say, you know, instead of knowing 100 kicks that you throw one time, you want to throw one kick 100 times or 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. You're gonna know that kick. That's gonna be the problem. You know how to throw that kick, not just knowing a bunch of things that you're not really good at. You know, this way I get to perfect what I'm doing is still adding on to it, you know.
And so now you see that perfection come to a peak, you know, as a brown belt, you become the #1 ranked IBJJF ultra heavyweight brown belt in the world. And that is an accomplishment. It's not just, you know, the world championship gets thrown out a lot, but we're actually talking about the best in the world, #1 in the world in that division. And I know that there can be, you know, that's a hard route. That's a lot of people aspire to do that, and will never achieve that. What is that like for you? What was that experience like for you winning? You know, to getting to #1 in the world?
It all came, it was tough because I've been, you know, like I think after white belts when I got exposed to IBJJF, you know, that last, you know, that first world championship, and then saying, what is this tournament? Because it wasn't local, you know what I mean? I was doing everything in San Diego and LA and dominating, and I was like, what is this IBJJF? And then knowing the ranking system, and then saying, being a blue belt, and then competing, fighting for sponsorships, you know, trying to earn them, especially at my age. It's like, who's going to sponsor a 37-year-old blue belt? Like, it's unheard of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm like, no, I want to get paid. I want this. They're like, well, go win this, go do that. And getting those rankings, it's like, okay, well, how do I get ranked in the world? How do I do this? Like, well, you got to go out there and compete, and you got to bring back some hardware. You know, and, you know, blue belt, you know, I can't remember if I was top 20 or top 10 at blue belt. You know, I got to purple belt, and I was on that same mission trying to win IBJJF Pans, IBJJF Worlds. I was always trying to accomplish that. That was the main goal for me, is to win a Pan American champion, to win or IBJJF World Championship. And I've been in the finals, so many times in Pans, or hit that that podium, taking third, taking second, taking double third, and just always missing it. One mistake, one match, one thing I did wrong, and going through the years of that, and it just gets harder and harder and harder. Well, come brown belt, as soon as I get promoted to brown belt, my first competition is Pans. And we don't have it in Cali, and I got to fly out all the way to Florida, you know what I mean? And,
on your own dime.
On my own dime, sponsors, thank you for that, you know what I'm saying? And really, fly out there and go do this. And it's like, you know what I mean? You don't come through. It's one match, and you're done, and you're packing, and you're coming back home, And I was able to go out there and had my matches and ended up winning the finals with the Captain Joe technique. Ended up winning that, and that boosted up my points high, brown belt. And I kept competing, and started coming up. And I think we sat down earlier at the end of this year, and we had talked about, that was my goal. I got Brother Hopper right here behind me. He's a monster, man. And this guy's...
Call him Baby Hulk.
Baby Hulk, man.
Brazilian,
Baby Hulk.
Brazilian Hulk. Monster.
He's a monster. And, he's, I trained with him. He's won 2 world championships back-to-back. He's going for his 3rd right now. And he was ranked number 1, you know what I mean? And the crew we got with him and Viking Blood, Alex, yeah. You know what I mean? Viking Blood up high on the rankings as well. You know what I mean? Like, we were all going for that number 1 spot. Hoppa had it first, and that was my goal to catch him up there on the top. And, with the blessings from everybody helping me get out there to compete and do this, and training hard, and, my coaches, my professors, teammates, and everybody that invested in me and went out there, and I put in that work, and we hit that goal. We hit that mark, to become number 1 ranked, and not just in the heavyweight division, but in the Masters 3 every division, absolute, overall, and in my bracket, which is, it's not just saying for the ultra heavies. I beat out everybody in the bracket. And
that's after, and so when you reached that level, how many years had you been in the game?
We're going to say 6, 7 years. Yeah, 6 years probably.
That's quite
7 years.
That's quite an accomplishment. It's quite an accomplishment. If you were just to quit right then, that would be, you could have put that on your wall and say, hey, I'm done. I was number 1 in the world at one point.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And now you're looking to take over the black belt division, I imagine.
It's going to be tough, bro. See, this is the thing. It's all fun and games. Like, everybody's like dreams about their black belt. I want my black belt. But you got to understand, I've been training, it's almost 8 years. So you're a white belt, blue, purple, brown, black. When you hit that black belt, because of my age, the competitors that I'm going to go against now
are seasoned.
Probably been black belts for 20 years.
Yeah.
They got their black belts
when they were
in Brazil.
They were like 25, 30.
20 years old.
Yeah.
25. And we're talking about some savages out there, pioneers, legends, real legends, I'm a San Diego, legend, but you know what? We're talking about like some big names out there, and I've seen them and I've been watching them, and it's like, these guys got it down, and I'm looking forward to it. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get submitted, suited up. You know what I mean? I know it's coming.
Well, we're not putting that out there. We're gonna ride with the streak. We're gonna ride with the streak. So okay, so what is? I know that each gym. You train under Carlson Gracie, Riverside, correct?
No, Brawley.
Carlson Gracie, Brawley. Each individual academy has their different, black belt ceremony. What is that? What is it like getting your black belt? Do you have to fight people to get it? Is it just, does it come like as a surprise where you don't know and they just award it to you? I've seen a few different techniques. I've seen where people have had to fight for them. I've seen where people have had to, they get them
on the podium.
Yeah, they just get them on surprise. How do you think it's going to happen for you? Or is there already
I've been hinted, a year ago, you know what I mean? That
okay.
I was already towards that point, you know what I mean? I know promotions are coming up soon for the academy.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean? So it's it's something special, and this is a thing, Some people will say, what belt are you? And you can say you're a black belt, or I'm a purple belt, brown belt. But we that know, we say, doesn't matter your belt, it matters who gave it to you. Who gave you your belt? And then we know where you're at. And like they say in jiu-jitsu, the mats don't lie, Chico. You know what I mean? Because these are earned. You know what I mean? They're not bought. You know what I mean? This isn't online. This isn't like other sports. Not sports, but I mean like other martial arts. Where you can just pick up your black belt in a year, 2 years. I'm not trying to knock what they do, but we ain't playing that over here. You got to put in your work. You know what I mean? Like, you really got to earn it, And it's not just about how good you are with your technique, or how many championships you have, your accolades, or any of that. A lot of things are incorporated. What type of person are you? Are you mature enough to receive this? Because this is a blessing that you're getting. This is a blessing from your professors. Like, handing down that samurai sword to a samurai. Telling them, you know what I mean?
And it's their name on the line, too. It's their name and reputation, right? Because you're going to go out and say, hey, this is who I trained under, this is who I got my black belt under, and if you're not up to par, they're going to be looking at him crazy, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be like, who gave you your belt? Because you got to carry on the legacy.
Correct.
We're Carlson Gracie team, and my professors, I'm loyal to them, and they've helped me out a lot, and that's what I love about jiu-jitsu. It's been like, my extended family, you know what I mean? Even sometimes when my family wasn't there, they had my back, you know what I mean? I've gone through some difficult times in my journey, and they were there to uplift me, get me back on the right path. We talk about earlier, my childhood and decisions that I made when I was growing up. And they were bad decisions, and I'll admit that, and I paid a lot of consequences for those things to this day, But the thing is, what jiu-jitsu has done for me is giving me an opportunity to continue to carry that lifestyle and go down that path. If it wouldn't have been for jiu-jitsu, I would have been at the bars, partying, getting in fights, just because I was a rowdy dude. I look rowdy. Yeah. I'm good people. You get to know me, you know what I mean? But just looking like that, people are going to
assume things, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, and everything that comes with it. But I've been able to use jiu-jitsu like therapy, you know what I mean? It helps me stay in shape, you know what I mean? And now because of this platform, I'm able to give back to the community. I'm able to see people that are going down the wrong path, or somebody who's dealing with drug addiction or alcoholism, and or getting involved with gangs, or people that suffer from PTSD, or people who have had some trauma go on in their life, kids that are timid, that don't know how to associate with people, or bullies, and be able to teach them what I know and try to, hopefully it betters their life through jiu-jitsu, because it's not just the rolling, the training, the competing, it's everything it's a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? It's not just a sport to me. This is a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle to many of us. And that's why we're so tight. This is a big community, When you join an academy, you're not just joining an academy, it's a family. And there's an extended families, other academies, other people. It's a huge community, and it's worldwide, and it's positive. And what I've seen it do in other people's lives and in my life, that's why I'm addicted to it, and I keep doing it. Because for me, for a person that's honestly a knucklehead, I have good intentions. I'm a good person, but, I can get distracted. I can veer off real quick. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm drinking some alcohol. You get some.
There's water in that red cup.
Or water. So the thing is, I'm the type of person that, imagine doing all these things, right? My head can get real big. Oh, world champ. You know what I mean? Oh, you done this. Oh, this, all this stuff. Go go out there and have those type of thinking and then start drinking some alcohol and go out there and just get into some negative stuff. You know what I mean? So the jits for me just lines me up, and my professors keep me in check, the teammates, and we got to carry ourselves like role models. You know, we have people that are looking up to us and saying, hey, you know, like, that's how you carry yourself. And sometimes I'll do what I have to do because I know I'm going to help somebody else change their life. That keeps me in check. And I'm just being honest and opening up about that, you know. Those that know me, they know who I am and what I'm about, you know what I mean? And my heart's for the people, you know. Yeah, I go out there. I don't try to disrespect my opponents, you know what I mean? We'll pump it up for the people. We go in there, we bang on that mat, but after that, you know, we shake hands, you know. Somebody asked me, you know, what makes you a great competitor? You know, because I said, I think I'm a great competitor. And they said, what makes you a great competitor? Somebody from the sideline said, well, great competitors are humble and this and that. And I said, well, you know what? I've been out there competing with people, and I see they start mentally breaking down. I'm getting the better of them, and they start quitting. And I'll start talking to them and tell them, hey, you know what? You want to be a champ? You better beat the champ. I go, get up. There's a lot of people looking. Let's go. Give it all you got. And I'll lift them up in the middle of the match, knowing that they're probably going to smash me or probably wreck me. Like, I'm motivating them because they're
why are you going to sit here and talk to me while I'm mentally defeated? And you're acknowledging that?
Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's do this. You got this. Let's go. Push. And then after the match, they came up to me and said, you know what? That's what I love about you. That's what I respect about you, bro. Because, you know, you push me. You push me to fight at my best, even when you had me down. You know, and that's what it's about, because at the end of it, it's like, who are you? You know what I mean? What makes you a good competitor? What makes you a good person? You know?
No, I get it. I definitely get it. I think that you are a real ambassador for the sport. I think that your story is motivating to a lot of people. I don't think that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gets the platform that it needs. I think more people need to be aware of it. That being said, you said you had your firstborn. You have other kids. How many other kids do you have?
Oh, little girl as well.
You got a little girl as well?
Yeah.
And is she into the martial arts or anything at all?
Yeah, she's in it. Like I said, she started before I did. Got in for a little bit, got out. You know what I mean? And
your daughter?
Yeah, my daughter.
So your daughter went. So both kids went in.
Yeah. They started.
Okay.
You know, way before I did, and they did it for a little bit. She competed when she was little.
Wow. How old is she now?
Out. She's 14.
And your son?
17.
Okay, got it.
So she got out and, you know, didn't want to do it. And then she started going to high school. Right? So, I mean, I remember when I was going to go to high school, that was my fear. I said, man, these seniors are going to smash on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You knew I had to come. And, you know, those are the big dogs running. And yeah, sure enough, she started getting tested. I told her, you're a beautiful girl. You know what I mean? You can go out there and you're going to have some problems.
You're going to have some haters.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, and then I tell my girls, you know what I mean? It's like, this is the thing, you know, you're a female and you got to be on your toes. And I said, you want something more than just hope, you know? Don't say, you know what? I see this group of people coming, or these chicks are, you know, eyeballing me. And
I hope they don't fuck with me.
I don't want to catch this. And yeah, you want something more than hope. Just saying, I hope nothing happens. You want something more than that, because your job is just to get home. So you can hope all you want, and I hope it doesn't happen. But just in case it does, at least I got something
in my sleeve.
That I'm going to be able to have an opportunity to get out of this situation.
Okay.
You know, and just because we know what we know, I tell them, that doesn't mean that we walk around like we're aggressive. I've had, since I've been training jiu-jitsu, I probably had maybe 1 or 2 scuffles. That's it. You know what I mean? They were quick, but it wasn't, you know, because you learn how to walk away from that type of stuff. You're like, nah, I know what I can do.
I'm not going to, I already know this dude is inebriated. Yeah. This is going to go way further than it needs to go for you, not for me.
And that's the thing, you know, and I told my daughter, if you can do jiu-jitsu and compete and submit somebody who knows how to defend it, what do you think you do to the average person that doesn't have no knowledge of how to defending that? So that's why we do what we do. And now she's doing that. She's doing the Muay Thai as well.
Awesome.
So, you know, I don't know if she's thinking about stepping in that cage one day, but I know right now she's hitting it hard. You know what I mean? She's hitting it hard. And she's playing softball too. So she's living my dream through that. You know?
Okay, so she got the baseball, a little bit of the baseball for you, and she's going Muay Thai, huh? with a little bit of the striking.
Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu.
Where did she get that from?
She just, I don't know, probably them YouTube videos. That's what they're doing. You know what I mean? Social media. You start looking at it, and if you really pay attention to what your kids are seeing on social media, on YouTube, there's a lot of fights that are breaking out in schools, and these kids are pressured to
never thought about it like that.
Videotaping them, and it's a fear for a kid. You know, like it's a trauma. Fights. There's nothing cool about a fight. It can get ugly real quick.
Correct.
And you know, that fear is something else. You know, and sometimes you see people that are out there training, and you think that they're a tough fighter. They're not. They're afraid. But you know, it's you got to respect somebody who's afraid, because you know what I mean. It can get bad real quick. You just don't know what they can do. You know?
Nowadays, you know, we grew up, like you said, we grew up in the school of hard knocks where, you know, guns were around, but it wasn't the first choice. Yeah. You know, we earned our respect from the amount of fights that we were in. Yeah. You know, and you lived to fight another day. You know, if you thought you had enough, what it took, you go back, you challenge them again. You know, and maybe you won, maybe you didn't, and that was the end of it. And you lived to tell about it, and that was, you know, hey, I'm not going to mess with so-and-so because they got hands, you know what I mean? Or I just don't even want to deal with it. I know that they're going to fight back, so I'm not going to even deal with it. You know, nowadays it's school shooters and, you know, internet bullying and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, the fear, I don't even think about that, but, yeah, the fear.
And it's,
the fear went probably a little higher.
Yeah, and I told my daughter to be aware of it, you know, and she got tested at school, and, you know, I just try to tell her, hey, you know what, if you continue to get bullied, you know, I know that you're training and you're ready for this. And I said, first, try to reach out and see if it's something else that's going on with that
person.
Individual. Yeah, and if you can. And my daughter was waiting for it. She was like, you know what, I can't take this bullying no more. And I told her, you know, I can't do that part for you. I know you're afraid. It's going to be, you know, part of life, but you're going to have to learn how to stand up for yourself. And it's hard being a parent and not going over there and just smashing on somebody because they're messing with your kid. It's tough, you know what I mean? And we prayed about it and said, look, pray about it, and then try to talk to them, try to be cool. But if not, you know what you got to do. You got Daddy's full blessing.
Handle that business.
And you know what? Her confidence, because of the training, let her like stand her ground. And next thing you know, that person ended up coming around and making friends. And then I said, okay, now you got the door open, and then say, hey, you know what? Like, you're very aggressive. I know you like starting fights with everybody. Why don't you come to the academy and come
learn some shit
and trip out on what we do? Like, you got to do it for real. Like, this is what we do every day. Like,
if you really want to, if you want to be about it.
Yeah. So it's cool. So that's
awesome. So she actually opened up some doors using martial arts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a different technique, right? When you have that ability.
And it happens a lot like that. You know, we got kids that want to scrap, you know what I mean? Kids rowdy on the street. Tell them, okay, you want to go get paid for it. Let us train you. You know what I mean? Come through and let us make you a professional at it. If you're really about that life, and you think you can do that, let me show you what type of work it takes. You know what I mean? And we pride ourselves on raising world champions. You know, everybody that I run with and deal with. You know what I mean? If there's people that want to get to that level and do that, I'll train you. You know what I mean? They putting out some heavy hitters too. You know what I mean?
Now I know you mess with I know you train with a different few gyms. Is there anybody that you want, a few gyms that you want to shout out in particular that have helped you get to where you're at?
Yeah, I mean it's a combination of, of course, my team in Brawley, Carlson Gracie Brawley, Surf Fight up in Del Mar, you know what I mean? They've had my back, you know what I mean? It's like, when we're here in San Diego, and when Captain Joe opened up his academy in Brawley, it's 2.5 hours out.
Yeah.
And to go out there and train, come back, You know what I mean? The time, it was long, you know.
It's imposing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my team with all my heart. And then I've been able to cross train over here. You know what I mean? Hit up surf fight. When I was out in Tucson, I was training in Tucson and training at Brick House with big Professor Harold Jones. Is just a monster. He's one of those guys walk into any academy, everybody knew who he was. Just like, oh no, you know what I mean? And Sawarita, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Tucson, and Team Dominant. And, you know, I'm thankful to those guys out there and their fighters that they're putting at a Dominant. It's like crazy, man. They got this Dead Game out there that's in the UFC right now.
Shout out to Dead Game. Yeah.
Yeah, Chapo. Who else? Chula, MMA, and Brandon, Samurai. You know what I mean? They putting out. It's hot over there, you know what I mean? It's hot. It's nothing but heat, you know what I mean? It's hot, so everybody pissed off. And they got some fighters coming out there, you know, and, you know, get a train at Kainga, Pitbull, and that's what I'm saying that's cool about it, you know, and especially a big shout out to Professor Elias Gallegos, you know, a.k.a. Pep Brooks from Alliance East Lake, you know what I mean? He's always been there, you know, and he's one of those guys that I respect so much because, you know, when we were in National City, you know, we were a small academy, and people were like, oh, you know, you guys got a Carlson Gracie team in the ghetto, you know what I mean, in the hood. And, you know, the fighters that came out of there, everybody, the kids program was just dominating everything, you know. It was special, those teachings that we were getting there. And I remember Professor Elias coming over to teach a class. And I remember my Professor Raphael introduced us to him, and he says, hey, Professor Elias is coming over here, and I'm going to tell you something about it. They have an academy in East Lake, and what he does is he prays first with his kids, and then they're going to try to come and kill you. That's the program they got. And that's the
they're going to pray, then they're going to try and kill you. They're going to pray for forgiveness.
About those promotions and stuff. They're the ones that, you know, they put on the gloves, and you get touched up. Like when you're getting your belt promotion over there, you got to learn how to defend kicks and punches, and they go at it, you know. And I remember him coming over to the academy, excuse me, leaving a big academy, you know, in East Lake, and taking his time to come over to teach us over here. And it didn't matter if there was one person or two. He would leave a big old academy.
You need more water? You good? You want to grab some more water?
Thank you. Like, it's not fire water. But, you know, to come over and, you know, I got a lot of love and respect for that man, and he's come over and you know, to this day, you know, still rolling with them right now. I'm training with him, you know what I mean? I'm away from home, so, you know, he's opened up that avenue for me, and great mentor, you know, especially what he does for the community and stuff like that. So, you know, he's a good dude. So, and, you know, Pitbull and like I said, you know, if I might have left somebody out, I apologize about that. Big shout out to my team over there and Escondido, you know, and it's like, you know, and one thing about it, you know, my professor, thank you, my professor encouraged us to go out to open mats. See, some academies, like you were talking about, they keep them secrets to themselves. So sometimes, you know, jiu-jitsu was like protected. Like, hey, we don't want our technique to get out to anybody else. If they're going to find out, they're going to find out when we go compete. This is what we do.
They can figure it out then.
Knowing these tricks and these secrets these techniques until
they're being utilized on them.
Either you're joining our team or till you see it. Then you'd have to go and record everything and dissect it. Okay, they're doing this, but not have a full understanding. And my professor used to tell us, if you guys are allowed to go to open mats, and he used to tell us, okay, if you're a white belt, you can't just go to any open mat. You need to take a blue belt with you or a higher ranking coach with you.
Okay.
Because if you're a white belt and you go to another academy and you get smashed, I'm going to go over there and smash. So make sure you go with your coach. You know what I mean? And the reason for that was also to keep us in check as far as our mat etiquette, our manners, to be respectful the way we were brought on. Like, I won't step on a mat until the highest ranking black belt, wherever academy it is, they allow me onto the mat. It's like a vampire. You know what I mean?
They gotta invite me into your house.
You got to think about this. If this is your house, I don't just go open the door to your house.
Yeah, go
open
stepping
the
on my
fridge.
mats.
No,
Yeah.
I'll come and knock. And it doesn't matter what rank I'm at, what I've done, who I am. None of that matters. It's always about respect. Some people are like, just get on the mat, dude. Come on. How many times are we going to do this? I go, every time, bro. Every time. This is how I was brought up. This is your house. I'm not going to step on the mat until you allow me on the mat, and we have to pass those things down,
It's important.
Don't step on the mat, bow before you get off the mat. You know what I mean? And
that's the history in the sport. It's the traditions, and they need to be honored. That's the stuff that that helps you get away from the bullshit and get into what matters in life. So that being said, where you're on your next level, what if everything went the way that it was that you envision? What's this run at black belt going to look like?
I was going to hurt. I was thinking of those names. I'm just thinking of those.
Anyone in particular you're like, I'm not ready for it yet?
Yeah, probably my professor.
Oh, you're going to have to compete against your own people at this point. I didn't think about that.
Rafael, yeah. Big Hoffa. So that's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're talking about. And he's a monster. You know what I mean? And yeah, this is what's dope about jiu-jitsu. Doesn't matter what I won, what I've done, what I've accomplished. There's always people who are gonna make you feel like you're a white belt and it's your first day. And that's why we keep coming back, because you're never gonna know it all. If you get your black belt 20 years and you're 20 years old, you're not gonna get your coral belt or red belt till another 50 years. So we're talking 70 years minimum. You know what I mean? To get on that level. So I'm in for the long run. You know what I mean? But that's what gives me hope, and that's what gets me going back, because that's what jiu-jitsu is about. About how am I gonna get this guy? How am I gonna get him? Am I ever? It doesn't matter. I'm gonna keep coming back for it. Can I get better? It's about making improvements. It's not about being better than the next person. It's about being better than what I was before. Like I said from the beginning, all I wanted to do was make my professors happy, my coaches happy. Those who have taught me, all I wanted was their approval to say, hey, we're proud of you. That's all that matters to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, you get caught up because of the people and the fans and everybody that looks up, and they want to see all this. But I tell them, hey, you know what? It's cool. Gold medals and everything and titles are cool, but it's nothing compared to helping somebody else getting better at what they do. If they have a passion for it, when I'm teaching something and I see that light bulb go off on their head, that's priceless right there. You know what I mean? To say, look, I was able to give somebody some knowledge. And, you think about it, it takes you 8 to 10 years average to get your black belt, and then, you get your degree as, you're a professor. You can probably become a lawyer in lesser time than that. Or get
for sure.
Degrees, and what's cool about
become
this
a doctor.
If you're on top of it, you know what I mean? For the next level where we're headed is I could actually make a living off of teaching knowledge, not having to do hard labor.
Got it.
You know what I mean? I can pass down this knowledge and get paid for that.
So is that's your ultimate goal, is to maybe open your own academy?
Yeah. You know what I mean? That'd be cool. People have asked me. But like I said, I love teaching, and it's not so much as the money. You know what I mean? It's not the money. You know what I mean? It's what it does for people. Because helping people is also going to help myself. You know what I mean? To know that I'm involved with something like that. And like I said, we're dealing with people that got traumas. We're talking about people that, veterans that are suffering from PTSD and stuff like that, and the sacrifice that they made for this country, or, and to know that you're there for them in these times that are difficult, or helping them deal with something, that's priceless. You know what I mean? Yeah, and kids that are going down the wrong path. I don't want kids going down the same path that I went through. If somebody's out there, it's about family, and this is how you start learning those type of things, because, we're tight-knit and we have rules we have to follow too. We have rules, when we used to have these kids come in and they were yelling at their parents, they come train jiu-jitsu, You know, we're putting them on them for that. You know, the other kids, we tell them, you know, hey, go deal with them. You teach them how to respect their parents. You know, don't do that around here.
We were just having that conversation earlier today.
It's important.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's why I love the martial arts, and I feel like more attention needs to be drawn back to, you know, these traditions, these disciplines. It gives them something to work for. It gives them something to achieve, a goal to achieve, and they want to earn the respect of their peers, right? You, like you said, the most important thing to you is earning that respect from your masters, your people who have taught you, saying, hey, we see that you've taken what we've taught you and you've applied it. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to teach. So if you, what would you like? I know we've talked about the politics of the sport, and we've talked about how, and my purpose in bringing Marco on today was not only to introduce you to someone who was just amazingly passionate about the arts and very knowledgeable about it, but I plan on him being a fixture on this channel. We want to support the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community. We don't feel that you guys are represented enough, and I want to put people out here that are going to help uplift you guys and help uplift your sport as well, and are going to be good ambassadors for that. So you plan on seeing a lot of this guy. He's going to be around a lot, and he's going to be interviewing some of the brightest and biggest legends in the game that we have access to out here in San Diego. So that being said, where would you like to see the sport go? Like, what if you were in charge of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what would you like to see happen with the sport?
Man, like that Olympics for sure. You know, the Olympics, I would like it to be able for it to be taught in schools. You know, and there was some success with that with George Ramirez out in Brawley. You know, my professor, they were actually teaching at two of the academies out there, which I believe was Calipatria and El Central, I think, or Brawley High School. They had two teams out there.
Oh, wow.
And being able to do that. And, you know, because you got wrestling, you got all the other sports, but you don't have jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? And, you know, I don't know too much about how the politics are on that, but and I also know that there's some academies or people that don't want it to get involved with high school, because you got to think about it. Think about if there was no wrestling and we only taught wrestling out in the community, and then people would be paying for that. But once the school gets a hold of it, that money's going to get taken out of the academy.
I see
you know
that.
What I mean?
Okay, never thought about it like that.
Yeah, and it's tough, but I also want to say,
I mean, you've got wrestling travel teams, you've got basketball travel teams, you've got volleyball outside of the school,
right?
You know?
And then I think there's enough for everybody to eat, because number one, we want to pass down jiu-jitsu because of what it does as a whole for people. You know what I mean? That's the main thing. That's the most important thing. You know, as far as the rest, hey, you know what? It's going to depend on your technique and your knowledge. You know what I mean? Because you can go to a school and have a wrestling team, but why is it that they bring in outside people, or you have to go somewhere to get special training? If you want to get on that level, or you're shooting for that, you know what I mean?
True.
And right now, we have kids that train jiu-jitsu, but we encourage them to stay with the wrestling because they can get their scholarships
Got
through
school, the academics.
Yeah, you know, and in jiu-jitsu, like, to get paid, you got to be on top. Like the Rotulos, the twins, you know what I mean? They're ranked number one, 18, 19 years old.
There's only a few competitions where you even get paid.
50,000 in one match. You know what I mean? Big shout out to the boys.
Wow.
All the boys, you know what I mean?
Was that the submission only series that just happened?
I don't know.
I think I heard something about the twins.
Cade won 80cc, and
I mean,
you know, his brother just smashing out there too. Like, you know, it's that type of, you know, things that I would like to push. You know, but jiu-jitsu's got to get, it's got to be fair. You know, it's got to be straight.
Got it.
You know what I mean? And then it's tough. You know what I mean? So it'd be cool to be able to get it out to the communities. As far as me, I'll probably catch some, I don't want to say heat, but where I'm talking about opening up an academy is probably going to be in Hillcrest.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be different. What people have heard of, but people say, "Why are you going to do it in Hillcrest?" Right?
I love Hillcrest.
The reason
Used to own a shop out there.
Yeah, the reason why I want to open up out there is because I think everybody should be able to have the opportunity to learn jiu-jitsu.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Everybody has the right to defend themselves if need be. You know what I mean? And it's controversial. I'm going to run into people. I'm going to get some backlash, I'm pretty sure. Why are you doing it over there? And you know what? We're going to say that.
We can say that for them, but I will say this just to tail off on that. I had a retail store in Hillcrest for quite some time. That community is amazing. They watched out for me. They took care of all of my employees. Not only that, they were great patrons. Everything. I shout out to Hillcrest. Shout out to everybody in Hillcrest and surrounding communities. I absolutely love it. I'm a San Diegan, so I love all parts of San Diego, and I love everybody in San Diego if they got love for me. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to having you on the channel. I'm looking forward to having you back. I wanna bring on some bigger names and have you interact with them and show these people, really give these people an understanding of what the BJJ world is like, and start talking about some of the things that need to change and that need to be worked on as a whole. Because, like I said, I don't feel like you guys have enough representation, and we want to give you that. We want to make sure that you guys are being represented and that you guys are getting your flowers too, because it's a tough sport, man, and it's a lot of dedication. What's a typical training day for you? For like just before we leave, what's a normal average day of training for you like?
When it's comp, it's we're hitting it hard. You know what I mean? We're probably training at 5, 6 in the morning. Then go and hitting Cow's Mountain, come back, hit another one about 10 o'clock, hit a 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then hit the gym. You know what I mean? Like you're going and you're getting smashed. You know what I mean? So it's that plus cutting weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being healthy. And it's nonstop. You have to get in the rhythm, the timing. A lot of repetition and a lot of Shark Tanks. And
what's a Shark Tank?
Shark Tank is you sit in the middle of the room, and then you have everybody through the class come and hit you for like 2-3 minutes each. It could be 30 of them, and you're going to have to go through all of them.
Wow.
And the professor loves doing that. And the thing is, we quit. You come in there and you're fighting and you want to quit, and they won't let you quit. They just keep coming. And what that does for you is when you're fighting an opponent, it's only one person. And it teaches you that if you can endure all that punishment and pain and what you have to react to, how you have to adjust to everybody's different style and what they're throwing at you, it puts something in your head that when you do go compete and you start feeling down, you just remember, you know what, man, I went through that. Nobody trains harder than I do. Nobody deserves to be on these mats with me. If I can deal with that, this ain't nothing. And I've been there before, just already giving up, like thinking, I can't continue. Like, I don't want this no more. Like, I don't want it. And then just hearing my professor's voice, hard work, dedication, and just hear his voice and then just nut up. You know what I mean? Yeah. For real, just get up and then just let's go. And just seeing that other person's face when they thought you were at your worst, and then they just see you rise, and then they start going in slow motion. No! It's like, here we go. And you don't forget that. And it's dope to learn that. You know what I mean? And to pass that down. Because, like I said, we get some people that want to be world champions. They want to be Pan-American champion. They want to feel that any championship, just winning that gold medal,
one time,
they want to get there. It doesn't matter. It starts with that gold, to be the best right there for that tournament, and to be able to pass this down to them. And we tell them, hey, I'm going to show you everything that they taught me. This is how I learned. This is what I did. This is the technique, and this is how we're going to hit it. This is the hard work and dedication. You know what I mean? If you want to be a lion, train with lions. You know what I mean? And that's what we're going to do. And I've seen them do it. I seen it do it. I see Mike and Blood do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've seen them.
You guys have been to the pits together, all three of you.
Oh, man. I've seen that.
I know people get upset when the three of you walk into a room into a competition. They're like, damn it.
Yeah.
They showed up.
Yeah, it's something special. But you know what? We didn't win that sitting on our ass. We have to go out there and get it, you know, especially, you know. Sometimes you got people that doubt you, like, nah, we can't. You know what I mean? Like you talking and saying, yeah, we're going to get all these people out here. We're going to get some underdogs out here, too. Because I want to hear from them. I want to hear the people that don't think that they have a chance. And I want to get their opinion and say, hey, how do you feel? How do you feel people telling you that you're not going to be able to do this? And I want to see the story of both. It's very important because, like I was talking about earlier, that, you know, when I was in high school, didn't make that team because I was the best. What did it lead me to? You know what I mean? I want to see these people's thoughts and what their goals are, because like I said, when I went out there and I asked for my first sponsorship, I hit up that company and said, hey, this is what I want. They said, nah. They said, you're too old. You're too old. You're a blue belt. Nobody's going to look at you. I said, what do I got to do? They said, oh, go win our world championship. I said, okay. And I went and put in work. And I was like, bling.
What now?
Here's 4 of them. Here's 4 of them. What you want to do with that? You know what I mean? So, you know, that motivation to go out there and to be able to earn that, you know what I mean? Being looked at as an underdog, you know? And they told me, they're like, you know what, we're taking you because not everybody in the world knows who the best jiu-jitsu practitioner is. Nobody knows who the best is. But the whole world knows who Mike Tyson is. And that's who you are, Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? Bringing that, you know what I mean? Like that energy, bringing that energy, because it's about, it's not just like the match, it's about pumping up the whole place. That's
no, you
what
definitely,
I love.
you are
go in there, we're going and posting it. Hey, we're going to war, we're training, we're eating. What that does, and people know what I'm talking about, people that follow me, that know me for a long time, I've been doing this for 8 years, you know what I mean? So everything that comes with it, the comedy, the drama, the stress, the pain, the crying, the fear, because I'm real about it. Because people tell me, you know, like about losses. You know, a champion isn't somebody who always wins. It's somebody who falls and then gets back up,
fights through adversity.
And I've showed it throughout my whole career. Like, hey, this is what it took. Look how many losses it took me to before I was able to accomplish what I got. What happened if I didn't get up? Yeah, I lose. People are like, hey, you post your losses. Why do you do that? I go, I'm only human, bro. It's like everybody else.
Yeah.
How, if you're just winning everything, how is anybody going to say, okay,
how's anybody going to relate to you? Yeah.
How do I have a chance? It's like, no, this is what it's about. We go back to the drawing board. And that's what jiu-jitsu teaches us. Same thing in life. You run into, you know, in jiu-jitsu, you're getting put in some compromising positions, and you got to figure your way out of it. It's just like life. What am I going to do? What can I do here? Okay, I'm going to figure this out like that, you know?
That's a great analogy. It's a great, man. Awesome. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got a schedule. I know you've got kids and children, but we are definitely going to have you back on. I appreciate you coming out to talk to us today. If you guys don't know or aren't following this man on social media, please tell them where they can find you on IG so they can start seeing some of your clips. This man has some of the greatest highlight reels that you're ever going to see. Please give them your IG so they can go follow you.
That's at Marco_Big Daddy_ Martinez.
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 7 of the Luxury and Mayhem podcast featuring Marco Big Daddy Martinez. And today, for today's coupon code, the 50% off coupon code that is going to be active for 48 hours on the website is Marco. I know you guys thought it was going to be Big Daddy so you could cheat. That's why I waited till the very end. It's just Marco, MARCOS. Right? No S. So just MARCO. Okay, Marco. Go get your gear. Go to the website. Go buy it while you can. And come back in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. This has been Luxury and Mayhem. We are out.